Hello everyone, thank you for joining my talk. It's about Eclipse RAP, the remote application platform, and E4 and what we did in the RAP project over the last couple of years that could help you to move your E4 application or Eclipse 4 application to the web. My name is Markus. I'm working for a company that's called EclipseSource, and obviously this company has to do with Eclipse. And we're providing services around Eclipse, participating in open source projects, and I'm still providing all those packages that can be downloaded on the main eclipse.org download page. Apart from that, I'm co-lead of the RAP project. For those of you who are not familiar with RAP, maybe it's interesting to see the faces behind the RAP core team. We are a very small team, enhanced by some students from time to time, by some other co-workers, etc. And that's first of all Ivan. Ivan is living in Sofia, so he's not in our time zone. He's the expert if it comes to the server side of RAP. He's very familiar with the RAP source code, with the Java code. He's doing all his daily work around the news group, answering questions there. Visiting incoming bug reports, trying to solve or reproduce them, and he's the other co-lead of the platform. Then there's Tim. He's sitting very close to me, just 2 rooms away in Karlsruhe. He's the JavaScript expert and responsible for the JavaScript client that's running in the web browser. And then after all, it's me. I'm doing release engineering work. I'm trying to organize things. I'm doing all those contributions to the simultaneous release, like Oxygen, Neon, and so on, or Photo next year. I'm doing the intellectual property work. I'm looking after all those things. And from time to time, I'm giving presentations about RAP. What's missing here is the E4 or Eclipse 4 expert. We are RAP experts. That's a little bit a disclaimer. We are not the E4 experts, but we know whom to ask in case there are questions. Other things that we are doing, maybe you saw this on the website. There's a little app, a conference app. It's an open source one that helps you with the schedule here at the conference. It's available for iOS and Android. That's another part of the things that I'm doing from day to day. Back to RAP. For those of you who don't know RAP, it's a framework that allows you to use a Java API and to program against a very well-known SWT API and to create web applications from that. Just as an example, you have the Java API. You already know how to write SWT or RCP-based apps. And for instance, you have a large code base and you want to migrate these things into a web browser, run them in a web browser, give them away to a broader audience, and make them available on the web. Then you need something like RAP, which allows you to share one code base for all of this. In theory, it's nearly 100% of code reuse, but in practice, there are always some shortcomings in your existing code base because you wrote them with a single user in mind. RAP 3.2, Oxygen. That was the first time that we decided in the team that our E4 port is ready for prime time and we should make it available. We planned this for several years, but as I've been telling you before, we are not the E4 experts. We haven't had too many customers and experience in the past with E4, and we didn't have the confidence that is necessary to migrate this into the main RAP runtime platform. What we had in the past, or over the last couple of years, was an incubator project where we tried out the concepts and developed the RAP E4 port until it's stable. Now with Eclipse Oxygen, RAP 3.2, and now with RAP 3.3, we provide full support for E4. We have integrated all the bundles that are required. We changed the namespaces, and we integrated the E4 tooling into the RAP tools, which are, for instance, available in the RCP RAP package. Now let's start with the first demo. It's a little bit of a challenge. Hello World is obviously always in the start. Let's see if we can manage to create a first Hello World based on RAP E4. I'm starting here with the Eclipse RCP RAP package that can be downloaded directly from the website. I'm creating a new project. In that case, no, I'm in the wrong. Here we go. That's the correct Eclipse instance. I have several ones running. I'm creating a new project, a new plugin project. Give the project a name. We are creating a plugin and not a rich client application in that case. Then a little bit of our integration. We have several templates available. These templates are for the old Workbench 3, and here we have the RAP E4 template. I'm selecting this, creating the Eclipse Hello World template, click on Finish. And then I'm getting my first Hello World project with an application configuration that contains a single part. So not too much to see, but I'm already able to launch this with a provided launch configuration. I'm ignoring this, that's another one. This error is very familiar to everyone developing RAP. We need to start the server side and at the same time a client, the web browser. And usually the web browser starts much faster than the server. That's why you have to refresh here. And after a refresh, you can see that we already have a first part. It's a full and complete E4 application. Maybe that was less than 2 minutes. Back to my slides. What's part of E4? There are some main building blocks of E4. One is dependency injection. That's something that we can provide out of the box, and it's the same dependency injection with everything that you are used to from a standard RCP dependency injection. The next thing is the Eclipse context. That's again something that we fully comply with in RAP and provide the full functionality. Then we have the core services and application model. Both things are the same as an RCP, a rendering engine. That's a little bit different. It's an RCP or RWT, RAP-based rendering engine. And the last building block of E4 is the declarative styling. It's a CSS-based styling. In that case, we decided that we stick to our own way, which is much better and more improved and runs as a pure CSS styling in the web browser. Doesn't have to follow the problems that you usually have with a RCP-based declarative styling. So this is one of the main differences, the declarative styling. Then I thought it's good to list some issues that we faced during our development, because these are the issues that you will be facing probably in your own code if you are trying to migrate from an RCP to a RAP application based on E4. One thing that's a typical one, it's a cycle while computing values. Very interesting. It turns out that we found this when we were running load tests with many hundreds of users against our RAP application. And we had some cycles in there. The problem that we found out is that some code parts were still single user code parts. So they were not enabled for a multi-user environment that's running on RAP. So in that case, we had to extend the workbench to make one workbench instance available, and every workbench instance for every user session has its own service context now. Another one is statics. Statics that you are using all over your code. That's not working in RAP. You're working in a multi-user environment. What can you do in that case? Well, these were bundles or were problems in the main bundles provided by the Eclipse platform teams. We had no chance to fix this, but to fork them and to create our own ones, which respect this multi-user functionality in RAP. Other problems. A memory leak. A memory leak doesn't really matter in an RCP application. It's running on a single computer. This computer has a lot of memory. You're rebooting your machine every here and then. You restart your application here and then. So a little memory leak isn't really a problem. In RAP, it turns out to be a huge problem after a while. Our customer reported to us, hey, I tried everything. I cannot find anything in our own code. It must be something in RAP. So we were looking into our own RAP code, and usually we have a lot of experience in writing multi-user safe program code. We couldn't find anything in our code. So we were looking into the platform code, into the E4 code, and well, we found something in the platform, and we provided a fix last year or this year to the platform team, which they accepted, and that helped us to circumvent this problem. Then we had to implement a few enhancements. One concept that we didn't supported in RAP was reparenting of composites. But this concept is being used in E4 for many things. For instance, if you're switching between perspectives, it's used to move the invisible parts to an invisible part of the application, and that's done by reparenting. So we had to implement reparenting in RAP, and that's available since, that's not a new feature, but that's available since 1 or 2 releases. Other enhancements that we had to do. In E4, you're using a central bus for sending events. And this bus is, the E4 parts are multi-user enabled. But there's one central piece, that's the OSGI event bus. That's a singleton. There's only one instance. And if you were sending an event to the event bus, It got distributed to all the other sessions. That's when we started to implement our own RAP event broker that fixed this misbehavior and that prefixes every event topic by a session ID that is user specific or session specific for this particular RAP or browser session. Last one. Yeah. In case you had a very long-running UI thread, it could be, or it was possible that this UI thread blocked the event admin async event dispatcher thread. And that's a central thread dispatching these events to all sessions. So it was possible that a single UI thread could possibly block all other users on the same server. Again, we fixed this in our own RAP event broker and made it UI thread safe. Next part of the next example that I want to show you is the RAP examples. That's the RAP demo that comes with RAP, and it's worth looking into that. I'm just starting this first. Ignore this. I want to run it here or in a web browser. I'm going for a real web browser. That's just a demo plugin that we are providing. It shows a workbench window with some menus. It has a Hello World button. And one thing that I wanted to show you, because that's for everyone who's used to the old style of RAP programming, very impressive. You can switch languages in the same session. You don't have to reload anything, just need to press the apply button here, and then the internationalized windows here are changed. Let's have a look into the code a little bit here. First of all, every RAP application has an application configuration that's provided by an OSGI service. If we're looking here, that's the application configuration, that's the service we are providing, and that's the entry point to a RAP application. If you look into the class, if you look into the class, that's the wrong. Just give me a second, don't save. Oh, that's the wrong. But nevertheless, I can take this one. You need to define an entry point. The entry point is the URL that you're using to access this application. Hello, that's the URL next in the path in the browser. And then you need to provide an E4 entry point factory. That's something new that we invented to make it easier to create to create those E4 applications. This E4 entry point application needs a new E4 application configuration, and the most important thing here is, or I want to draw your attention to, is the application XMI. That's the application model of this E4 application. Going back to the slides. There's something wrong here. Ah, okay. Okay, about our bundles and features. The main bundle that provides the compatibility is the RAP E4 bundle. That's a new one, and that provides the E4 application configuration, everything you need to start this E4 application on RAP, and a few other classes that are always required in this environment. The other bundles that we provide in RAP are forked E4 bundles that we forked from the Eclipse platform team. In our Workbench 3 that we provided the years before, we created different Eclipse RAP bundles that you could distinguish by name or by the bundle symbolic name. But these are exactly the same ones as the Eclipse platform bundles. Makes development easier. On the other hand, it is dangerous because if you create a target that contains the wrong ones, or if you're mixing these bundles, your application won't start. So this is a very, very important topic here. Don't mix those bundles. We did a lot to prevent this from happening. We defined a new capability, org Eclipse RAP, and we're using this Eclipse capability in all our OSGI bundles to make sure that our own bundles resolve only against the RAP environment. But we cannot do this for the Eclipse platform bundles, obviously. The RAP E4 features, we try to structure them in the same way as we have in the other RAP bundles. There's the RAP E4 feature bundle that contains our own contributions, including the E4 bundle that you have seen before. Then there's an SDK feature that includes the first one, the RAP E4 feature, but includes the source code as well. So that's probably what you need to develop. Then we provide an Equinox target feature that adds on top of the other ones a Jetty runtime to have an integrated web server available and all Equinox bundles that are required for RAP. And last but not least, the examples features, a feature that contains some RAP E4 examples. Here again, the same warning. It's a danger zone. Don't mix those up with the other platform features. To make it harder to circumvent this, we provide these in separate locations as our other bundles. If you see a P2 repository that has the E4 in its name, then it's the RAP E4 P2 repository. What else are we doing? We are not contributing those things to the simultaneous release because other people would hate us if we would do. And we are trying our best to minimize potential problems on OSGI and P2 level by providing this bundle headers. And on the P2 level, we try to define negative requirements which help preventing this as well. A third demonstration. Maybe you know this old context demo. And when I was looking for an example last weekend, I thought this could be a very good example to migrate this existing RCP application to RAP. So this is the RCP application. It's a couple of years old. Nothing special in there, but it uses a lot of E4 concepts. So I'm going back to my Eclipse here. I imported the project here. And you can see there's something red. Why? Because I changed the target platform to an Eclipse RAP platform. This is my target platform here. It's using only RAP E4. Just to make it clear that I'm using this one, I'm reloading the target platform. Next step when I'm migrating something is I'm looking, for instance, at the plugin XML. What is incompatible? Why is it red? Oh, okay. Here's an extension point marked as red because we don't support theming by CSS. I already told you this. So let's disable this. Next thing I'm looking into is the manifest. Usually a manifest file contains a lot of require bundles. For instance, the first one here, Eclipse SWT. We don't have Eclipse SWT in our target. We don't have RAP and RAP data binding in our target. We are going to use the RAP counterparts, and we don't have CSS. So I need to remove all of them, and turn them into import package statements. I've prepared these steps here with little Git commits. That makes it easier to demonstrate. I've removed all the require bundles and put them into an import statement here. Going back to my source code, there's still some source code to work on. What else is red? There are some handlers for the theme. Here as well, it's a theme processor. CSS theming, we don't support this, so I need to get rid of it. First of all, I need to get rid of it in the application. XMI. There are some handlers here. For instance, this switch theme handler that needs to be removed. Let's remove all of those things that are not required anymore from this model. Merge the next one here. Reset. That didn't work. Now back to my non-compiling code. For instance, this one here. Here again, I see it's just the CSS theming that's not working. I prepared a commit that kills all these things from the source code and removes all the themings from the source code. Then there are still some things left. For instance, the views here, in the detail view. There are some dialog constants for a yes and a no label. In Eclipse, that's fine. They provide you with a real yes or no. That's static for this user session. But if you need to translate this during runtime, it's not possible to use a simple yes or no. You need a we or yes, yeah, or whatever. We have our own mechanism for this in RAP. That's the next change here. I've simply replaced these with a non-static version that we provide in RAP. And the last open issue is here the program launcher that is trying to launch a mail program, an external program. That's something that's not working in RAP. But we have a different mechanism for that. We can ask, make this a little bit bigger. We can ask our WT to get a client service, and we ask the client, the web browser, for a specific client, that's the URL launcher, and we just ask him to open the URL. Then we are finally clean, everything compiles. I need to add an E4 application and a launch configuration to the program, speeding up a bit and exchanging our heads. And in the end, I should be able to run this somewhere. I need to find the right browser instance. Come on. Is it here? No. I have too many open browsers. Ah, here we go. And then I'm running this context demo in the web browser. Fairly simple migration from an RCP product to a RAP-based E4 application. Now, where's my window? Outlook, we're going to provide a new release cycle, or we changed our cycle system. Usually we provided bug fix releases or maintenance releases with Oxygen 1 and Oxygen 2 with a simultaneous release, but in order to provide new features faster and quicker to our customers, we are skipping all those maintenance things, and we are always providing new versions. So when we delivered Oxygen 1, we provided RAP 3.3, and with Oxygen 2 we will provide 3.4, and next June with Photon we will provide a RAP 3.5, and we are all the time integrating small new feature sets. We will keep maintaining this RAP E4 port as a separate target. We are not going to provide it to the simultaneous release, but we are always trying to update our forks based on the work that's done by the platform team when required. And after all, I've heard that there's someone writing, or someone has some experience writing, a Workbench 3.x compatibility layer for RAP on E4. If I find time, I promised a lot in this area, but if I find time in this area, I will try to make that happen or integrate into RAP as well. Thank you for your attention. Are there any questions?
What would be the background of the workbench 3.x layer for E4?
That would be our RAP E4 port. So that would be something that, like the current Eclipse platform, that's an E4 platform. Then there's an Workbench 3 compatibility layer. On top of it, it's the same, would be the same system. Eclipse RAP E4 underneath, the Workbench compatibility layer on top, and running everything else, the application code.
Are you trying to use the E4 spice?
Sorry?
The spice, not the spice to anything in the E4 application?
No. No. No more questions? Thank you.